It's no surprise to hear someone in the U.S. say they're living paycheck to use. More than half of Americans do. By some measures, it's a little more surprising to hear someone who earns well into six figures say they're living paycheck to paycheck. But get used to hearing that. I.e., the question is this: what does it disconnecting when people with $250,000 or are in annual income say they're living paycheck to paycheck? And how is a lot of living paycheck to paycheck, where the term is being applied to these highlight, affecting our economic discourse and tax policy? According to a PIN Lending Club report, 36% of people earning $250,000 or more are now living paycheck to paycheck, though just 10 to 12% said they had trouble paying their bills. And the remainder said they were living paycheck to paycheck but were comfortable. One such person recently turned to MarketWatch for help with their extremely first world financial issues. Related story. This may not be the stupidest argument against taxing the rich, but it's trying hard. The writer's question was about consolidating debt through a home equity line of credit, heloc, and investing in rental properties. But from this financial scenario, by the end of 2022, I will have made $350,000 before taxes as the sole breadwinner and head of household. This is a great starting point, and I'm very aware how blessed we are to be without this position. But I'm always looking ahead on how to improve. I currently have $88,000 left in student loans, originally close to $150,000, and very little credit card debt, less than $2,000 with more $25,000 available. I have 2 auto loans totaling $170,000 for 2 electric vehicles at 5% interest as a result. After taxes, $401K. Software, bills, savings and Mars, $50. Wording on paper. I'm paycheck to paycheck. This writer isn't being overtly a jerk about this. There isn't the, oh, with me, sense that often comes through when high-income people talk to reporters about their desks. But it's profoundly messed up that, paycheck to paycheck, a term originally used to describe people struggling to mimic their essential monthly bills and vulnerable to relatively small economic emergencies, has expanded to the point where this person would ever think to describe themselves that way. If your monthly line items include savings and a 401k contribution, you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You're literally saving for the future. If one of your major debts is the $170,000 loan on your 2 electric vehicles, come on. I say Tesla. That's an extremely strong statement that you've chosen to live paycheck to paycheck. By the expanded definition that's apparently taking over the top of personal finance reporting. If the investments you're considering are rental properties, you're getting ready to enrich yourself at the convenience of renters who are actually living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck implies precarity. Yet now, more than 20% of people earning over $250,000 say they're living paycheck to paycheck but are comfortable. Other assessments of who is living paycheck to paycheck have found different, and often smaller, shares of the population and inequality. The high-income population living that way. New York Times columnist Peter Coy wrote Last Forever. He cites a Bank of America Institute report arguing that high discretionary spending across incomes tends to imply that while some people may be living paycheck to paycheck, they may still have scope to buy their discretionary spending if they need to. No kidding. Yet the definition of paycheck to paycheck that encompasses people raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and compare it on Teslas and investments is clearly taking over in the personal finance press. In other words, the term has been redefined into uselessness. And that's dangerous. Writing up the trials and travails of high-income people struggling to pay a big mortgage and private school tuition is a common way to argue against tax increases on the highest earning 3% of households. Similarly, the claim that a significant percentage of high earners are living paycheck to me was used to play the idea that inflation was so fast that even people making hundreds of days of dollars were feeling the sting. When affluent people are defined as struggling financially, it's usually bad news for people who are actually struggling financially, because somehow the range is never that our government and there should invest in things that would help middle and working class families. It's always something along the lines of depriving government of money to invest in education, because paying higher taxes would be too much for people who are already paying private school tuition. And focusing on the alleged financial struggles of the affluent is yet another way the media disappears the occasional large collection of DVDs with much lower incomes and much larger challenges.